White Bear Leadership Academy. This is Pete Ockuly. I'm the lead instructor at the Become Worth Following Leadership Academy. I just wanted to create a quick video. I wanted to check in because we really haven't seen each other since July 25th, and I know you have a follow-up meeting in the next couple of days here with Mr. Peloquin. So I really wanted to just kind of check in. Plus, I wanted to give you the rundown if you weren't able to be with us there on July 24th.
So we call this program the Core Strength Leadership Development Program. And the idea is that as you raise your own self-awareness, as you become more mentally tough, as you become more enthusiastic, and as you develop strategies for improving your own competence, you'll be able to share all those skills and strategies with the people around you. That's what we call being worth following.
Then we just took care of some housekeeping details. If you've not had a chance to meet Mr. Peloquin, your new athletic director, I encourage you to stop by and grab a workbook from him. Also, you need to sign up for the Google Classroom. I know most of you have done that already, but that's going to be one of the ways that we communicate with you and also give you resources. Also, you should grab your smartphone and sign up for our Remind. So just get the Remind app
and use these instructions for signing up for the Remind, and also make sure you sign up for the Google Classroom.
So after we did all that stuff, took care of all the housekeeping stuff, we started with an activity called the Circle of Self-Awareness. And if you were there, you probably remember. If you weren't there, you don't know. But what basically it was we listed a bunch of fun facts, and if they were true for you, you would step into the circle. And some of them took a little bit of courage, but it was a good way to get to know each other and kind of a good way to build trust. Now, at the Leadership Academy, we believe that trust building is extremely important when you're trying to develop group togetherness.
Trust is the foundation of leadership. It allows you to have necessary discussions and even conflicts without worrying that anyone in the group is in it for themselves. It seems weird to want conflict, but the research shows that when you engage in healthy conflict, you're more likely to come to a common commitment. Once you have a commitment, it's easy to hold yourself and others accountable because you all know what you're being held accountable to. And a group that holds itself accountable is always going to get the results they're after. I can't explain this nearly as well as Pat Lencioni does in his book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's a quick read. If you want to check it out sometime, I highly recommend it.
We talked about a concept called locus of control, or location of control. The inventor of that idea was a psychologist back in the 1950s by the name of Julian Rotter. And basically what Rotter talked about was the fact that certain people have what we call a more internal locus of control, and others have what we call an external locus of control. So if you think about this for a second, we could talk about if I said to you, okay, raise your left hand. Assuming that you have a left hand, most of you could do that. Now, I would ask you, well, how can you do that? Well, it's because you control your body from within yourself, right? But if I had to, I could ask you to raise somebody else's left hand, right? That would be the external locus of control kind of taking over. So in other words, the location of control is located outside of you. We read a couple of things about attitude and where your locus of control needs to be, and all that stuff is in the workbook, so you should really check it out. Bottom line,
there are things in your life that you can control, and there are things that are completely out of your control. Research shows that leaders, while they recognize that there are things that are out of our control, many things are within our influence. So you should go through this activity in your workbook and just try to understand that better. There was a researcher named Dr. Stephen Covey. He found that if you just monitor your speech closely, you'll often develop a more internal locus of control. Covey says that between what you do and how you react to it, there's a small space. What happens in that space is your responsibility. So try this exercise in your workbook and see if you agree.
Then we really started to dig into our values and what we really think about stuff. And so we did a little exercise that I like to call Where Do You Stand? And on one side of the room, we would have people stand in an area if they completely agreed with a statement. On the other side of the room, we'd have you stand if you completely disagreed with a statement.
These are the statements, and we didn't get to discuss them all, but my understanding is that at your checkup meeting here, you and Mr. Peloquin are going to dig a little bit deeper into some of these. You may want to check out your workbook and just have a read through these and see where you stand on these issues before you get there that day.
Then we ate lunch, and after we ate lunch, we kind of participated in an activity that we like to call Fill Your Cup. And the idea is that whatever you fill your cup with is what spills out of you. And this is an important concept when you think about the people you lead, because what you're full of, and some people are full of a lot, but what you're full of will spill out onto other people. Finally, we talked about habits and why we have habits. You know, it's actually a good thing, but sometimes we have bad habits and sometimes we have good habits. And we talked about how to build good habits. And I talked an awful lot about some of the habits that my wife built.
These are some before and after pictures, and this didn't just happen. It happened because there was a change in habits. She went from sleeping every day till 7 or 7:30 to waking up at 10 minutes to 5 every single day and going to the gym. It was hard to build that habit, but now it's just a normal part of her life.
Then we talked about some of the habits that we didn't like chewing our fingernails or procrastinating, and how we can actually change those things.
We talked about how the research shows that anywhere from between 60 and 80% of your daily behaviors are habits. Researchers have figured out that your brain receives a cue and it tells your body to run a routine with the expectation that in the end, there's a reward. Well, what you can do is you can pay attention to when you get that cue and instead run a different routine. That new routine will give you a different reward, and you'll soon have a new habit and you get rid of that old one. There's a whole lot more to learn about this. You can read the book called The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg.
So that was basically it. You need to stop by and see Mr. Peloquin in the activities office if you have not yet met him and gotten your workbook. I know he's excited to meet you if he hasn't met you yet. I'm excited to meet you too here coming up in September. Make sure you get signed up for Remind and Google Classroom, and I will put those codes back up here at the end of this video. I know you have a check-in coming in very soon. I will be in China, so I won't be in the check-in. But, you know, bottom line, if you feel like, you know, this leadership thing, there's so much to remember, or, you know, you're not really sure where to go, well, just remember that you're in the role that you're in for a reason. People have recognized you already as a leader, and my hope is that you continue to grow as a leader and develop as a leader. And if you feel like, you know, I just can't do that, well, just remember this: just be the kind of leader that you yourself would follow. We call that being worth following.